This is Richard Pedley of Garden Elf, where we explore all things to do with the regeneration of foodscapes. And today we're joined by Mark Christensen of the Heritage Food Crops as the Research Director. And we're at his place here where he's undertaking a range of research of various heritage food species that have anti-cancerous properties, and he does research on them. So, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Richard. Very well.
Can you tell us a little bit about your heritage food crops and what that's about?
Okay, we're a charitable trust based here in Wanganui, and we investigate foods that have medicinal compounds to keep people well. So this is, at its core, a wellness initiative. We try and educate and empower people to eat foods that are highly nutritious. We're really looking for superfoods.
Could we have a look, please, at your collection of seeds? I hear you've got a bit of a store of seeds and things back here. Do you think we can have a look through and
Sure.
see what you've got?
Come in and we'll show you. This is just a selection of some that we've got at the moment. We grow a lot of heritage tomatoes, and we'll talk to you about those. The ones we grow are all golden orange varieties. We don't grow any red tomatoes anymore, and there's good reason for that, but we'll get on to that.
Okay.
We grow a lot of climbing bean varieties. We've imported a lot of seed from North America, especially North American Indian varieties.
Okay.
Those varieties that some of them have been kept going for thousands of years
Wow.
and have still retained the essential elements. The genetic blueprint has not been changed over that whole period of time. There's some beautiful varieties. We've got one here which is called Persian Lima, which of course is a Lima bean variety. And some of these varieties we've collected and we grow, and we've used the colour as an indicator of the potential health compounds within the seeds.
Is this a hard thing to do? Like, I always see that it's a good thing to collect your seeds and to be able to, select the species that are performing the best and adapt the best to your local conditions. But it always seems so tricky to be disciplined enough to collect the seeds and to replant the following year. Is this a difficult thing to get your head around, or for the average person to do?
Well, we've actually produced a book, Jessica the Seed Saver.
Okay.
This is designed for children, just to help them with just doing that, saving the seeds from their special tomatoes, and so that they can grow them again. So in this book it's got instructions on how to squeeze out the seeds into a container, put some water in it, keep it in there for 3 days and allow it to naturally start to ferment, and then just tipping it out into a sieve, and you rub your hands around the sieve to get off any excess gel, and then put them onto some paper. Something like greaseproof paper is very good, and just allow them to dry on that.
This is great.
So it's a very simple
All put
process.
together as a kid-friendly format. That's pretty clever.
Yes. And this book's available for download
Okay.
on our website,
Okay, what was the website address?
heritagefoodcrops.org.
Okay. The research that you've done on the tomatoes, I've heard you've looked into the anti-cancerous properties of them quite a lot.
Yes, well, we've been looking for the best tomato in the world for human health.
Okay.
And it's been a bit of a process.
Mm.
We've been going on this for about 11 years.
Wow.
And so each year we grow tomato varieties and we get them chemically analysed at Plant and Food Research in Palmerston North.
Okay.
And so Plant and Food will give us each year a report.
Mm.
Now this, for instance, is a report of carotenoid compounds in the tomatoes.
Okay.
And we've focused a lot on lycopene because lycopene is a major health compound in tomatoes.
Mm.
And what we've found after having analysed 500 varieties and got all the data from that, that there's two forms of lycopene in tomatoes. There's the form that's in your modern red tomatoes,
Mm.
which is an all-trans lycopene,
Mm-hmm.
which is not easily absorbed by the human body.
Mm.
So most of that lycopene just passes straight through.
Mm.
Lycopene needs to be absorbed into the blood and then circulate around the body, where you can receive all of those health benefits.
Okay.
Reduction in oxidative stress and
So it's like an antioxidant. I've heard antioxidants before as being quite important in
yes.
your health.
It's a very powerful antioxidant.
All right, so what do we have here, mate?
So this is the Monty's Surprise apple. Now this is on a dwarf rootstock, M9 dwarfing rootstock. So the tree maintains this really good size, but it does need to be well supported. Now the Monty's Surprise is famous because in our research this was the best apple for human health. And that was there were 250 varieties in that study. And then we compared the compounds, the levels of compounds with other studies done overseas. And it was considerably better than any commercially available apple variety. So it's a beautiful variety, very versatile, very disease resistant.
Very abundant too by the looks here. It's growing pretty rampantly.
We're now mid-January. It doesn't actually get fully mature till about mid-April.
Okay.
So it's going to become very large.
Wow. And is it like a cooking apple or an eating one?
To begin with, it's a cooking apple. It's quite dense.
Yep.
And then in mid-April, the flesh turns to a lovely crisp consistency, and it's lovely and nice to eat as a dessert apple.
So that's really extending the use of this apple, is it? You can eat it at different stages for different purposes.
Yes, that's right. As a cooking apple, it fluffs up beautifully, and chefs love it. As I say later on, it's a lovely eating apple as well. So this variety, it's noted because it has the highest levels of quercetin flavonoids in the world for an apple variety, and extremely high levels of procyanidin compounds. And it's the procyanidin compounds that are in the skin of the apple that appear to be the major anti-cancer compound.
Wow. So don't peel your apples.
That's right. That's right. You need to eat the skin to be able to get those the benefits of those procyanidin compounds.
Okay. And what's the research that's been done on this, and how does that relate to health?
Okay, well, we were able to get the analysis, the chemical analysis done, and to identify that it had those very high levels of compounds.
Yeah.
And then we linked up with a French researcher in Strasbourg who was a colon cancer specialist.
Okay.
And I sent him all of our data, and he immediately replied that he wanted to test Monty's Surprise. So we collected more apples, and we made cider and cider vinegar, and that all converted into powdered extracts and sent to Strasbourg, and he tested them on colon cancer cells and came back and said that they were the most potent at their anti-proliferative effectiveness against those colon cancer cells.
And this is in a dried form?
Yes.
So I'd imagine as a fresh fruit it must be even better.
Well, that's right. That's right. Wow. It's one of the difficulties with the science, of course. You can't send them the fresh fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a lovely example of the Monty's Surprise apple. You can see on this side there's been a leaf that's been covering it and shading it, and whereas this one has been open to the sun. The more sun that the variety gets, the redder the apple becomes.
And they get huge, don't they? You're like one
Yes.
apple grown, you're looking at something about a big watermelon in size.
And the Monty's Surprise has a very distinctive large round leaf, which is one of the characteristics of the variety.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story of how it was discovered?
Well, I was travelling down a backcountry road in central North Island with some friends, and we just happened to stop the car to get out and stretch our legs on this dusty road, and there over a fence was an apple tree, almost smothered in blackberry. But it was mid-April, there were apples on the tree, they were ready. We hopped out and we jumped the fence and we tasted one or two, and they were lovely and crisp, wonderful flavour and clean. For an old variety like that, it was obviously disease resistant. So I took several apples home and gave one to the late Tom Matthews, who was a nurseryman in Wanganui and a friend, and he cooked it up and he said to me, "That's the best cooking apple I've ever had." Wow. And I gave another one to a commercial nurseryman, and he ate it and said, "That's worth pursuing." Wow. And so we did.
Can you tell us a little bit about the diversity that's in your plantings and how that is important for the resiliency of a farm?
So we're experimenting with different cultivars, different fruit varieties in order to see what works best for us in this climate of Wanganui. And we are very lucky here. We've got one of the most temperate climates in the world, and some of the best soils in the world are located around Wanganui too. So it's an ideal location for horticulture.
Underutilised in this area too, isn't there? There's not much of it going on in this area.
Yeah. The only thing that we lack really is the infrastructure for horticulture. Okay. But that typically comes after the event, and will probably come in the future.
Interesting. And that's important, isn't it? With the climate changes going on, it's getting increasingly more unpredictable what the summers and winters are going to be like, and having that variety in your plantings is more likely to give you a more consistent yield if something's performing better in one season than the other.
That's right.
And what are some of the species that you've got going on in here? What's this one? We'll move on. Let's make a different one.
So we've got a whole variety of apples here. We'll probably bring in a few sheep to help the convergence.
Oh, okay. Good control for that.
Yes. This is the macadamia nut tree, which fruits really well for us here.
Okay.
This
is not typically seen as a macadamia area, is it? So this could potentially be a good cash crop for this year.
Yes. There's macadamia nut orchards in New Plymouth, around New Plymouth, and Wanganui can certainly grow them.
Wow. Have you got other little tips or things that might grow well in this region?
We can grow most things.
Okay.
Actually, we're very fortunate. Right? It's surprising. We certainly grow lemons exceptionally well, and some oranges do well in the right location. You get a northern slope, big sunshine, oranges can perform magnificently.
Because the winds are quite strong in the northwesterly direction in this particular region, isn't it? So maybe that's one of your major considerations, is picking a site that's sheltered from those winds. Otherwise, we're quite fortunate here in what we can achieve.
That's right. Shelter is important, but we have the advantage that the breeze off the coast keeps us a little bit cooler in the summer, so we don't get those extremes of temperature that we do on the east coast. And we have this very mild winter, which is the envy of a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's where most of our plantings are established, isn't it, on the east coast, not so much on the west coast, and with increasingly more big droughts occurring on the east coast, there might be a shift in production more to the west coast to utilise our more stable conditions.
That's right, I think it's inevitable that will happen.
So get in front of the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the tour of your property. It's been really fascinating to hear about the health properties of it all and see the diversity of your plantings. It's really impressive what you've achieved here, and I'm leaving with a few tips up my sleeve, so thank you.